my name is Adele. I'm the founder of Naked Marriage and the Spark program. So we had a client recently who was complaining extensively, a couple that we were working with, and he just kept saying to me, she is so critical. Why is my wife so critical? Literally, I come home and she just, everything that comes out of her mouth is just this barrage of criticism. And, we did quite a lot of work to really discover what was going on there. And I started to see a trend with other couples that I was working with where we were seeing a similar explosion of criticism. And what all these couples had in common is they had children, at least 2. The wife was, she used to have a career and now she's focused primarily on raising the children. And the husband is incredibly busy and incredibly checked out, okay? This kind of combination can often lead to this wife just losing it spectacularly and becoming more critical. So what had happened across about 6 or 7 couples that I've worked with that had exactly the same situation is that the wife had expectations of what having children was going to look like, thought that the husband was going to be more supportive, more helpful, and everything was going to go really well in their relationship, only to discover upon marriage that actually he doesn't really want to engage very much, or he kind of starts to run away and distance himself and stonewall more and more in the relationship. That lack of support and isolation with all of her feelings and hormones led to postpartum trauma in all the cases of all the couples that we work with. And when a woman is left alone with all of those deep emotions and she doesn't experience the emotional support of her partner, a split can happen in the relationship at that point. It's like a fracture that has happened in the relationship. And when we get a cut or a wound like that in a relationship, it's something that we need to address and we need to heal, because otherwise it starts to develop scar tissue and the relationship doesn't really quite recover from that. And in all the cases, the wife was sort of nitpicking over things, the guy would come home, like the kitchen counters weren't wiped, and you forgot to give Johnny his dinner, and you were supposed to give the kids their supplements. Can you not do anything right? When somebody is nitpicking about tiny little things like that, as a husband, I really recommend you zoom right out of that situation and you take a look at what is really going on here. Because often what I see happen is right in that moment that somebody is nitpicking and they're super critical, the husband immediately jumps to his own defense. But I did do it. You don't understand. I'm really busy. I've been working. You're always such a bitch. It's not fair. And then he disappears. He emotionally checks out, and that actually exacerbates the problem. What's key is to sort of step back from the whole situation and look at this nitpicking and this criticality. What's really going on here? Is she okay? Is she happy? Why is she focusing and fixating on all these little things that are going on? Does she feel significant within the relationship? Does she feel that she has a certainty of my support in the relationship? Am I actually being supportive, or am I just actually trying to avoid her barrage of criticism, and am I running away more often than I should be as a father? If that inquiry leads you to actually think, yeah, you know what, I'm actually not being a particularly supportive father, and I do need to be better as a husband in supporting my wife through things, I really recommend that you start addressing that. Often when we are trying to do marriage counseling, people just, start with these conversations, this is what you did and I did this, and they get into this like tennis match where she rehashes the criticism and he rehashes his defensiveness. It doesn't work. For effective resolution of that argument, you need to shift the environment of the relationship to be more positive. In other words, you need to move the pH from a very acidic one to something where everybody is just in a better mood. And the way that you can do that is, if someone is super critical, jump in and support some more. Listen to what they're saying and actually make these changes. Address the points that they're raising. Be more helpful, be more supportive, be more around. Ask yourself, are you actually giving her undivided attention, or are you checked out because you just feel tired of being criticized? Ask her, how are you doing? Are you coping? I'm worried about you. You don't seem to be yourself right now. Just those simple notices, like questions, and re-engaging with this person, you might actually find she'll completely break down and start to acknowledge that she's miserable, and this whole situation has not been what she thought it was going to be, and that she feels alone and unsupported. A woman who feels alone and unsupported becomes a nitpicky, critical wife. So as a husband, by being more supportive and jumping in there, you can ease that environment so that we can actually address the whole situation. So in the Spark Marriage Program, we have a very systematic approach in dealing with something like that. So in our program, we install a marriage contract. So we are looking at actually working with the couple to look at, well, what makes a real working relationship between the couple? What do we need to install into this relationship so that this couple just works better as a team? Where is team missing? Where are problems dividing them as opposed to them actually coming together against the problems that they're trying to deal with? What logistical changes can be made? What simple solutions can we implement to avoid some of the stresses and strains that are happening? Where are the children misbehaving, and where can we get certain things in line? Where can we implement systems to make things work better? So that marriage contract addresses a lot of issues. The next thing we look at is we look at shifting the environment away from constant barrage and arguments about the same things over and over again. We look at shifting the environment towards the meeting of human needs, making sure that we're really clear what is everybody's personas, what are the needs that need to be met in this relationship for people to be happy. Once that's addressed, we're then looking at spinning of a series of 27 plates. A successful relationship, you actually need to be doing several things in parallel, and you need to keep spinning these plates around. And the spinning of all these plates is what makes the relationship harmonious and wonderful. Successful partnerships, people that have been married for 45 plus years and they're still really happy with each other, they understand all these little things that they need to do. They understand that very high expectations with long checklists only lead to unhappiness. They have lower expectations. They have flexibility in their thinking. You know, they have a really good rapport with each other. They are good at making repair attempts and receiving them. They don't throw criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling into a relationship. They have good body language with each other. They have a good physical chemistry with each other. There are 27 elements that you need to install into a marriage. And if you install them, you really can move your relationship to the next level. So that tip for you, if you're finding your wife being really critical, jump in, shift the pH, be more supportive, listen to what she's actually saying, and start to shift the environment. The minute the environment moves into something more positive, that's when you start a program or marriage counseling to actually address the real problems at hand. So I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you have any other questions and we'll be sure to address them. Thanks.